Okay, morning students. Now welcome back to our class. So today we are going to discuss another most important feature of living organism, and that is not important, it is the basic feature, that is the basic unit of living organism, that is the cell. So already we have got a preliminary introduction about it. So let us discuss about, basically today we will discuss about the prokaryotic cell. We know that prokaryotic cells generally we get the bacterial cell, uterine algal cell, the mycoplasma. All these are prokaryotic cell. So let us discuss the structures which are there in the prokaryotic cell. So children, while going through the Kingdom Monera, we had an idea about the prokaryotic cell, and today we will vividly discuss about various parts of the prokaryotic cell. And so let us see what are the parts. So first of all, let us see about the outer structure, the most outermost layer. The outermost layer is the cell envelope. Clear? This cell envelope may be it is basically a mucilaginous sheet which is made up of a non-cellulosic polysaccharide. Clear? It is often called glycocalyx, and this may be, if it is a mucilage, clear, forming a gummy substance which is a gummy sticky appearance, clear, then it is called capsule. But if it is very loosely, it is a very loose sheet, then it is called slime layer. So envelope can be of two types. If it is a very loose sheet like structure, it is called slime layer, or if it is a very sticky gummy appearance, have a gummy appearance, then it is called capsule. Inner to the main function of mucilage is to protect the cell from desiccation, from toxins, from phagocytosis. That means other cell may not engulf it, clear, or it also provides immunogenicity and virulence to the cell, clear. So this virulence to the cell, that cell can cause disease, that is also imparted by this outer cell envelope, clear, to some extent. And so this is about the cell envelope. Next one is the cell wall. You can see here, next one is the cell wall, clear. So inner to mucilage is the cell wall. We know that the prokaryotic cell wall is generally made up of peptidoglycan, that is murin, along with some lipids. And now this cell wall, according to the cell wall, we have already learned that it has the peptidoglycan, which contains the two units. These are, peptidoglycan is made up of N-acetyl muramic acid and N-acetyl glucosamide. Alternately they are there, and they are interconnected by peptide linkages, clear. So that forms the peptidoglycan. Now, so we have seen that generally bacterial cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan. Now children, depending on the content, that means what percentage of peptidoglycan is there, clear, the cell wall can be of two types. And scientist Christian Gram first proposed a staining method called Gram staining, clear, where the bacterial cells were treated with crystal violet, and it appears to be purple violet, clear, or bluish violet in color. Now then they are treated with 0.5% iodine solution to fix the stain. Now once the stain get fixed, then they are washed with alcohol. Now what happens, you see that when they are washed with alcohol, part of the bacteria, clear, that a certain type of bacteria, they retain the stain, clear, and they remain purple violet. But the other group of bacteria, they release the stain, clear. So according to the retention of the stain, the bacteria were grouped into two major groups, that is the gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative bacteria. So those the bacteria who retain the stain, clear, they were called the gram-positive, and those who release the stain after the wash of the alcohol, they were termed as gram-negative. Now the question is, why some are retaining the stain and some are releasing it? Clear? So if we go on for that, we'll find that in certain bacteria, the cell wall peptidoglycan, percentage of peptidoglycan in the cell wall is extremely high, clear, which may be about 70 to 80%, clear. And since peptidoglycan is absorbing the stain, so those who have that high percentage of peptidoglycan retain the stain. But other group of bacteria which have a peptidoglycan of only 5 to 20% of peptidoglycan, in those cases, since the peptidoglycan is so less, they cannot retain the stain, and as a result they release the stain. So now they are having this high amount of peptidoglycan and very small amount of lipids and other substances. But what about this? Because peptidoglycan is so less here, so they have a high amount of lipid, clear. Now if we go on for the structure of this cell wall of these two bacteria, we'll see that the gram-positive bacteria, they have a single layered cell wall, clear. The cell wall is only single layer and they are in direct contact with the cell membrane, clear. But if we see, go on for the cell wall of the gram-negative bacteria, we'll find they have double layered cell wall. The outer layers is made up of lipid and inner a very thin peptidoglycan, and they are also wavy, and as a result it touches the cell membrane only at certain points. So like this, suppose this is the cell membrane and this is the peptidoglycan layer. In gram-positive it is single layer, clear, and it is continuous with the cell membrane. But what about see in gram-negative, it is double layered. Outer is the the lipid layer, and inner is the peptidoglycan layer, and that also wavy, and so it touches the cell membrane at certain points. Now in accordance to the gram-positive and gram-negative, bacteria shows a certain range of characters. So we will see what range of characters do bacteria show and on accordance to their gram-positivity and gram-negativity. Now if we see the gram-positive, we will see that here the mesosome is very prominent, very clear, common and prominent. But here in gram-negative, mesosome is very rare. Pili and flagella is very less in gram-positive, but it is very abundant in gram-negative, clear. And most of the gram-positive are the non-pathogenic, whereas gram-negatives are mostly pathogenic. And these gram-positive bacteria are sensitive to penicillin. So if we give penicillin, they will stop their growth. But these gram-negative bacteria are not sensitive to penicillin, clear. So they will grow even if penicillin is given. They may be sensitive to other drugs, but antibiotics, but they are not very sensitive to penicillin. So these are the characters which are in accordance to their gram cell wall content. So next to cell wall is the cell membrane, and we know that cell membrane is a protein and is made up of protein and lipid, and that is universal in all living organism. So it is. Now these cell membrane in the bacteria often have some foldings or invaginations, clear. These are called mesosomes. So cell membrane have often foldings or invagination. These are called mesosomes. Now mesosomes in bacteria or in these prokaryotic cells have immense importance. Now why these mesosomes are formed? These mesosomes are formed to increase the surface of the cell membrane. To increase the surface of the cell membrane, mesosomes. So more we invaginate, more the surface will increase. And you see that prokaryotes do not have any membrane bound organelle. So some structures will be there while where they may contain certain materials, like in mesosome they contains respiratory enzymes often. They in blue green algae, these mesosomes are there, which contains the these pigments. Clear, these are called chromatophores in blue green algae. They may contain respiratory enzymes. Clear, in certain cases mesosomes helps in the formation of the cell wall, that is also by the mesosomes. Mesosomes gets attached with the chromatin. Clear, and helps in duplication and distribution of chromosome into two cells when the cell undergoes division. Mesosome helps in cell division by forming invagination. So there are various functions. Mesosome is a very vital part of the prokaryotic cell. Now there are certain surface structures also, like flagella. You can see here the flagella are the surface structures which have three parts. Sorry, we could have a discussion on the shape of the mesosome. It may be vesicles, it may be tubular. Clear, it may be lamellar, which contains the lamellar. We know that this chromatophore, so they contain the pigment in the photosynthetic lamellis. So they have various shapes and have performed various functions in the prokaryotic cell. Now if we go on for the surface structure, we'll find that this is a flagella. Clear, which has three parts. These are the basal part, this is the hook, and this is the filament. Clear. So, and we know that prokaryotic flagella is made up of, yes, flagellin, protein flagellin, which contains single strand of flagellin makes up the prokaryotic flagella. Now, according to the distribution of flagella, this may be various types, like atrichus without flagella, monotrichus with single flagella, so the amphitrichus with two flagella at the two sides. Clear. So likewise we can see this is a monotrichus with one flagella, with a tuft of flagella at one end, cephalotrichus, with a tuft of flagella at the two end, lophotrichus, with two flagella at the two ends, amphitrichus, or the flagella is distributed throughout the cell, peritrichus. So we have various types of flagellation in the prokaryotes. Now apart from flagella, we have another surface structure that is called fimbriae. Clear, fimbriae are the fine bristle-like structure, clear, which are present on the cell surface, and it mainly helps on to adhere the cell on the rocks, on the host cell. And another one is the pili. We know that pili is to some extent elongated, made up of a special protein called pilin, and it mainly forms the conjugation bridge during the sexual reproduction, especially conjugation. Clear, sexual reproduction or conjugation of the bacteria. Or now next we will see that these are the nucleoid. Clear, we know that prokaryotic cells do not have a well-developed nucleus. It contains a single circular double-stranded DNA. Clear, that single circular double-stranded DNA, but it is not that they are spread throughout the cell. Obviously, though at a single circular double-stranded DNA, it does not form chromosomes. Clear, but it is concentrated in a particular region of the cell by the certain acidic proteins. Clear, RNA there, which concentrate the DNA in a particular site, and they don't form any chromosome, as because they don't have the basic protein histone, clear, on which the DNA will coil to form chromosome. That is absent. So this is a chromatin, single circular double-stranded DNA thread which forms a chromatin. Clear. And another interesting thing is that apart from this chromatin, clear, so this is not a well-developed nucleus, and we know that which is called nucleoid or genophore. So it is called nucleoid or genophore. So what is nucleoid? Nucleoid is in bacteria or in prokaryotic cell. They don't have possess a well-developed nucleus with nuclear membrane, nucleoplasm and all. Instead, they have a single circular DNA thread, clear, which is looped by some certain proteins, clear, and that is called nucleoid. Clear. Now apart from the nucleoid, clear, the bacteria also have another circular self-replicating DNA which is called plasmid. Apart from the nucleoid, bacteria have certain self-replicating circular DNA which is called plasmid. Clear? And that plasmid contains various genes like antibiotic resistant genes. Suppose a bacteria is resistant to certain antibiotic. Now where that gene is there in the plasmid. They have the sex factor in the plasmid. So various genes are also located in the plasmid, and it is self-replicating circular DNA, which is not in the nucleoid but outside the nucleoid. And now we will talk about the organelle, cell organelle. Now already we know that prokaryotic cells do not possess any membrane bound cell organelle. So what they have, because most of the organelles are membrane bound, so they don't have any membrane bound cell organelle. The only organelle left is the ribosome. Ribosome do not have any membrane. Clear? So prokaryotic cell have ribosomes. Now prokaryotic cell ribosome, they have a smaller subunit and a larger subunit. Now it is a 70S ribosome, clear, where the larger subunit is of 50S and smaller subunit is of 30S. We know that this A stands for the Sedberg unit, clear, which is the unit for sedimentation coefficient, clear. This A stands for the Sedberg unit, which is the unit for sedimentation coefficient. So if individually they are sedimented, then they will be in 50S and 30S, but jointly they will form 70S. Now often we find these ribosomes. What is the function of ribosome? Yes, the function of ribosome is the protein synthesis, to synthesize protein. These are often called protein factories. Now protein synthesis occurs on the mRNA. So often we will find that the mRNA with numerous ribosomes at a time. This structure is often found in the cell, and this is called polyribosome or polysome. Clear? They are forming numerous protein on the mRNA. If suppose the cell needs a similar protein, clear? So they may form numerous protein at the same time on the mRNA. Clear? So this is polyribosome or polysome. Now in addition, there are many non-living substances present in the cell. Clear? Protoplasm is obviously there, and many non-living substances are present in the cell, in the protoplasm, which are called inclusion. It may be glycogen granules, it may be the other pigments. So these are the inclusion bodies. Clear? These are the non-living substances which is present in the protoplasm. There are various food materials and other things, and the vacuoles. If we go on for the vacuoles, we will see that prokaryotic cell have gas-filled vacuole. Mostly the photosynthetic bacteria like purple sulfur bacteria, they have gas-filled vacuole. Fluid-filled vacuole absent in the prokaryotes. Now already we have an idea about the prokaryote, and we already have an idea of eukaryote also. So if we go on for a difference between prokaryote and eukaryote, what we will find that cell wall is mainly made up of peptidoglycan in prokaryote, but in eukaryote it may be cellulosic, made up of chitin. Clear? Now cell membrane is more or less same in all, but in prokaryote they often form mesosome. These are absolutely absent in the eukaryote, mesosome formation. Now next is if you see for the ribosomes, you will see that prokaryote have a 70S ribosomes, whereas the subunits are 50S, 30S, but eukaryotes have 80S ribosome with subunits of 60S and 40S. Next, the prokaryotes have the cell envelope, clear, with maybe slime layer or capsule, but that type of cell envelope is absent in the eukaryotes. Now, if you go on for the surface structure, we'll find that prokaryotes have the various surface structures like pili, fimbriae, flagella. In eukaryotes, this pili, fimbriae is totally absent. Instead, they have cilia, clear, and flagella is also present in eukaryote, but that flagella differs from the prokaryote. Clear, in having the prokaryotic flagella is made up of flagellin protein and is unistranded. In eukaryote, the flagella is made up of tubulin protein and have 9+2 organization. Clear, the pili, fimbriae is absent, only cilia are present in eukaryote, but pili, fimbriae are present in the prokaryote. And now if we go on from the membrane bound organelles, it is totally absent in prokaryote, but it is present in eukaryote. Many membrane bound organelles we know, that mitochondria, plastid, Golgi bodies, endoplasmic reticulum, lysosome, so many which are totally absent in the prokaryote. Next, the nucleus. If you go on for the nucleus, they don't have a well organized nucleus. Prokaryote have a nucleoid, clear, which is not there is no nuclear membrane, nucleolus, but eukaryotes we have a well organized nucleus with nuclear membrane, nucleolus and all. In prokaryotes, the chromosome formation is absent, basic protein histone is absent, only a single circular chromatin is present, but in eukaryote, 2 chromosomes with basic protein histones and numerous chromosomes. Here a single circular DNA, but here the numerous chromosomes are present. But another important thing, plasmid is present in prokaryote. This plasmid is absolutely absent in eukaryote. Eukaryote does not possess such plasmids anywhere. Vacuoles, if we go on for the vacuoles, you'll find they are the gas-filled vacuoles in prokaryote, but in eukaryote we find fluid-filled vacuoles for the Babency and all. The photosynthetic is maybe oxygenic or anoxygenic, clear, without liberation of oxygen, but here in eukaryote photosynthesis is always oxygenic, and because chlorophyll A is there, and these the photosynthetic pigments